Yeah, yeah. Hannah Giles turned out to be a con artist, and just a total. I don't know. To this day, I don't know if it was just total incompetence or malice, but she completely, like, whatever. The company was on its way. On its on its last legs. It did everything to accelerate its demise and tear us apart. And she ended
by doing what?
Oh God, everything. So well, first of all, she
became the CEO.
She became the CEO, which the way
approved
that
by the board.
she was, well, yeah, the board. It was the board was like, they offered her this is a whole nother story that I haven't even told in a while, but the board, yeah, I thought it was a brilliant idea, and Hannah and I were always friends. We kept in touch over the years, and I knew her kids, I knew her husband. And, I liked her, but they just wanted her to be a face, but she insisted, and she claimed that she had her own donor network that she was going to bring to the table, her own Texas donor network that were loyal to her. And she had, all these connections and to sources and law enforcement and military that were going to give us all these really groundbreaking stories. And it was like, it seemed too good. It was too good to be true.
That was the big lie.
She said she was going to break, but then she started having these, once she was like, well, my donors aren't going to give unless you make me CEO. Okay, Hannah, you're CEO. Well, but for 6 months, for a 6-month trial period. And then she's like, or 3 months, 90 day or something, 90 day. And then she was like agreeable to that. But then in a board meeting, she's like, oh yeah, my donors, they're not, they said that they're afraid to donate unless you make me permanent CEO. Because they don't know if I could save this company, and then 90 days from now, you guys could say, okay, thanks, Hannah, bye. And the board members were like, Hannah, why would we do that? If you save this company, why would we ask you to leave after on day 91? It didn't make any sense. And then she claimed that she was getting death threats. And
from who?
It was like, I don't know. She completely made it up out of thin air. So she bullied the board members into like agreeing to all her demands. And then she has like, oh, it was like, okay, Hannah, where's the money that this donor network of yours is supposed to give us? And she's like, yeah, well, they're a little troubled by Matt Tierman being on the board. So they're not going to give until Matt Tierman's gone. Okay, Matt Tierman resigned. Okay, and Hannah.
Really?
Now, yeah. Yeah. Now what's
you were so desperate?
Yeah. Because we had, maybe like a 6-month runway, 3-month runway at that point. We just wanted to do journalism. We just wanted whatever. So Hannah was like, yeah. And then she was like, oh yeah, my donors don't want to give until, and then she started saying like certain guys in production, like who were bad mouthing her or something. And she was like, until they're gone.
So
and
it
it's
became
like,
personal.
What do these donors even know about, I'm not going to say the names, but like, so she meant it to turn it into this vendetta. And also she was, she was getting in the way of the journalist. She was micromanaging the journalism too. We had, for instance, like Alyssa Dean had this really blockbuster story about the student loans, the way that the Biden administration was circumventing the Supreme Court ruling on his student loan program. And she had this undercover scoop, and Hannah Giles, who I think had it out for Alyssa Dean, because Alyssa Dean years ago had also exposed someone that Hannah Giles was friends with. That's the speculation, that Hannah Giles hated Alyssa Dean, one of our journalists, because of a story that she had done on someone years ago that Hannah was friendly to. She completely did everything she could to stall the story from seeing the light of day. And until ultimately there was no way to, we ended up publishing it. It's a great story, but it was, she was just stonewalling, micromanaging, coming up with, gaslighting, turning people against each other. It was one of the weirdest experiences of my life. And ultimately, and firing some of our best people too. So anyway, and then ultimately, and I was her friend, you know, and I was part of the reason she got hired. You know, I didn't intend for her to be CEO, much less permanent CEO, but I like the idea of having Hannah Giles come out of the woodwork to be the face of Project Veritas. I didn't know she was such a bungling klutz and such a horrible person, but but I was one of her advocates, and when she had HR terminate about 20 employees, including me, over Zoom, over an unexpected Zoom, without notice, without what do you call it? Severance, on August 17th, 2023. And so that was the story of that.
What was
it's you know, it's funny because so much time has passed. I'm doing great, you know. I'm sharing all these stories kind of like with just, you know, baffled amusement in retrospect. I'm not kvetching. I'm not aggrieved.
Well, you don't seem like a victim. What was the salary of hers when she was a CEO?
She was $250,000, I believe, is what she was making, which was about half what James had been making at the time. And she apparently was kvetching about that, according to I don't know that for sure. I just heard that she was complaining about that.
But prior to her return to Project Veritas, what was she doing?
Oh, who knows? Supposedly, so she and we all believed her, because why would, like, we didn't have time to actually like consider that she was lying about a lot of this stuff. So she claimed that, she had started this, that she and her husband had started this fellowship called the American Phoenix Foundation, and that they had trained, you know, hundreds of investigative journalists who are now working in mainstream media.
Undercover.
Yeah, and I don't know. And apparently that, and you can Google American Phoenix Foundation. Apparently that was and she brought on Ben Wetmore, who was James O'Keefe's mentor back in the day, and was working with her and helped her start the American Phoenix Foundation, I think in 2014, 2015, which I believe the Attorney General of Texas, don't quote me, but anyway, the American Phoenix Foundation was a C3 that came under investigation for supposedly looting donor funds, and it was apparently this was a serial pattern of them kind of preying on these 501c3s and these donors and bilking. I don't want to get too in the weeds because I don't want to but you can Google American Phoenix Foundation, and this is apparently there's a pattern of some of this behavior.
Do you like writing?
Yeah, I love writing.
So you know there's a format called 110 pages. Write a screenplay for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That has to be a Netflix TV show.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Yeah, believe
story.
me. Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm a screenwriter. I love, you know, I've always thought of doing, you know, sort of like kind of what Sorkin did with Facebook, you know, kind of a Sorkin style, you know, or All the President's Men, you know, type of. I wanted to write a screenplay about the Democracy Partners investigation. I may one day do that, because that in itself is a movie, you know, and a pot boiler.